feel the music.
It's been about a year since I sat down and caught up with everything about the series of My Hero Academia. From watching it and then reading it, I stumbled upon extra bits of information for characters, about how they were made, character thoughts on them, and fun bits about their hero costumes here and there. One thing that caught my eye were the stats for the characters. They're pretty typical stats of power, speed, technique, intelligence, and even a unique one of cooperativeness. I'll just keep it for co-op for short because I have trouble saying that word. It's showing off how well someone would work with someone else. Now, the very interesting thing about these stats is that they are very confusing, and they kinda don't make any sense. Now, this doesn't apply to all of them, but some of them are a bit of a head scratcher if you know anything about the series. The biggest example I can give is of the two main characters, Midoriya and Bakugo. I'll start with Bakugo. His stats, well, make perfect sense, honestly. A 5 in power, a 4 in speed, 5 in technique, 4 in intelligence, and even a 1 in co-op. Yeah, looking at this, it makes sense of everything we've seen from Bakugo. Now with Midoriya, things get hazy. I'll look at the other 3 stats, technique, intelligence, and co-op. They're okay, that's good. But power and speed are where things get twisted. He has a 1 in power. Just a 1. That's the lowest you can get in these stats. And I could be thinking maybe they're referencing to his finger flicks that he did for a while, but I mean, those flicks are strong enough to break Todoroki's ice, which isn't an easy thing to do. Alright, maybe it's to his full Cowling form to where his power is more reserved. Could be, but from that form, it contradicts against what the speed is saying, which is also a 1. Mind you, full Cowling can blitz anyone if they're not prepared. Like, for instance, Sero has a 4 in speed, and with full Cowling, Izuku rushes by him. Yeah, I know Sero won by the end of that little race, but it still happened and Midori was in the lead for a bit. And to take it a step further, he just learned full Cowling, and even Stain had a little bit of trouble keeping up with him. You know, an assassin who's wicked fast and everything. And these are official stats from Horikoshi himself. They're from a guidebook. And when this was released, this was in the spring and summer of 2016, which was just a few months after the Forest Camp arc and in the middle of the Hideout Raid arc. So that's most likely when these stats were being made. Now let's go back to Izuku and his power. Remember when Izuku, with a broken arm, had enough power to launch Muscular into a cliffside and leave a crater and knocking him out? Yeah, 1 in power.
Thank you.
Again, not all stats are this perplexing, but it's a bit confusing here and there. There are 68 stats so far in total for characters that have been in some form of action, but even still, some are just questionable and are just funny to read off of. Like this, besides Momo, who has a 6 out of 5 in intelligence, the smartest person, according to these stats, is not any of these boys, but Mineta. Yes, Mineta is the smartest person besides Momo in Class A, apparently. Or when Hagakure, you know, the invisible girl, probably the worst hero in Class A, has more power than Izuku and is just as smart as him. But then again, she's basically a gag character and nothing more. The best thing that I can think of on why some of these stats are all over the place is because by the time and when Horikoshi was writing down some of the stats for characters, he didn't think of certain events that would kind of go against the intended stats. Like with a 1 in power for Izuku when his fight with Muscular exists most likely down the line. He didn't think of that happening and everything that was occurring in that fight, so that's probably why he just stuck him with a 1. Another possibility on why the stats are like this is, as a friend of mine puts it, hello Jordan, there might have been some translation issues in the process. Some stats by this point most likely need to be updated, if anything, because even for Bakugo, for example, his co-op has gone up later within the series. So maybe that's what these stats need, just to be updated, because say compared to JoJo's stats, which also don't make any sense and are probably worse, the stand wheel is a bit of a comprehensible guide that stays true through and through for most of the time for each stand. They're pretty much limited, that's why they kind of work, but for a series like My Hero, where the characters are always getting better and stronger, maybe having stats very early in the game wasn't the best move, but then again, if they do somehow get updated, it would be fun to compare how far the characters have grown. But, you know, whatever the reason may be on whatever these stats are, I hope nobody takes this video too serious. It was just something that I wanted to poke fun at from this series. You know, these stats, I don't think anyone really goes by these stats 100%. I bring them up in some of my other My Hero videos just here and there, but, you know, they're nothing to really 100% base them off of. They're just there because they're there. And one thing that I can say on how they're there is that they're pretty confusing. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have any questions, comments, or concerns? I'll try to answer them the best I can. You know what to do with all the links that I provide. Thank you for watching. That's greatly appreciated, of course. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else, you know what to do. Bye.